This is it, just right around here. I think I was coming down like this, stepped on one of these roots, just went, oh, boom, 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 kabam. And that's how you got a sprained finger. What was I doing up here? I came up here to get some B-roll. So, like they say, when you fall off a horse, you just gotta get right back on. So, let's go get some B-roll. B-roll is, in my mind, just the essence of what it means to be a human being in the 21st century. B-roll is all that stuff you see in everything, every type of film or video presentation that isn't the main conversation, the talking head, the main part. All of the shots of the scenery, especially when it's accompanied by music, that is what B-roll is. And it is everywhere now, and the quality is it's the highest level it's ever been at. If you watch sports, there's always scenes of these kind of the music and kind of imagery. If you watch travel shows, of course they're going to have scenes where there's music and then beautiful cinematography of the place they're talking about. If you watch, the list goes on and on and on. B-roll is everywhere. It's accompanied by music, and the level of cinematography that you see in everything from, of course, what's on TV, but what's all across YouTube is just getting better and better and better. Why is it getting better and better? Well, of course, because the cost of producing this stuff is getting lower and lower and lower. Digital cameras are making it easier and easier to create quality B-roll and quality videos in general. There's also just so much information out there about how to film well, how to create stuff that looks good. And as more and more people produce stuff like that, that means that more and more people get used to this higher quality of filming. And then that's like what's the opposite of a vicious circle is negative. Is there a positive thing? It's a friendly circle, a happy circle, where just people produce stuff that's good, and then other people say, hey, I'm going to do something that's better. And then someone goes, wow, that is cool. I want to do something that's even better than that. And so as people do stuff that's better and better and better, what happens is that it changes our own visual and mental expectations about what is normal. And so we keep, if not consciously, definitely unconsciously, sort of expecting stuff that's better and better. One time, just to get some B-roll for a film I wanted to make, I hiked all the way to the top of that mountain right there because I was doing something on Lungimdines. He had this theory about the peopling of Asia and how they came down from the mountains. So I wanted film of someone coming down from the mountains, or just the act of coming down from the mountains. So it took, I don't know, about 3 hours to get up there, and it was all muddy, and I just kind of slid back down the trail, but I got some good footage. But it just goes to show, like, once you get into this, just like what you'll go through to get some good B-roll. It's kind of addicting, but it is really fun. While you might think, oh God, this is terrible, we're just like in this kind of digital trap where we've got to just produce stuff that's better and better, I look at it another way. I think it's fantastic, because I think B-roll is like the essence of the human condition. We are visual beings. We love sound. Music has been there from the first moment a caveman or cavewoman took something and went, oh, that's good, I like that. Oh. And ever since then, this sounds have impressed us. Things that are visual impress us. And now in the 21st century, we've got all of these tools to just surround ourselves with the most fantastic imagery and sounds. So basically the way I look at it is like this. The world is becoming increasingly cinematic. Basically everyone who makes videos is putting in it very kind of beautiful cinematic footage that's usually in time with music, and every camera producer is making it easier and easier to produce cinematic style footage. There are all kinds of YouTube
tutorials about how to make your footage look cinematic, and it's everywhere. And so what my argument always is that when stuff like this is everywhere, we academics have to pay attention to that, and we can't just ignore that and be different. And so the other way I look at it is I don't see this as like a gimmick. It's not that we're trying to do stuff just to trick people into watching something that they wouldn't otherwise. So they go like, oh, academic video, I don't want to watch that. Wow, it's cinematic. Wait, maybe I'll stay. No, that's not really the point. The point, I think, is that we like it. Everyone likes it. It's just something very, very human to see these images, and we can go into the science of the way kind of cinematic footage works, but the gist is that it's a way of communicating to other human beings, and there's a lot of stuff that we can communicate through nicely crafted cinematic B-roll. You can communicate emotions, optimism, you can communicate a sense of your personality. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do with cinematic B-roll.
So what does that have to do with content Asian studies? Well, in the previous video I mentioned that if you Google for Asian studies, there's not much out there. There are advertisements for programs at universities in Asian studies, and those do make use of some good B-roll. After that, what I didn't talk about, but what I'll talk about later, are essentially, there are quite a few videos on the internet of lectures that scholars have given or seminar presentations where basically someone puts a camera in the back of the room, points it at the speaker, and lets it roll. There's no B-roll in any of that. And that is the issue that I'm really curious about changing and developing. What would B-roll for an academic talk be? Top. What would B-roll for an academic talk look like? You definitely could have it. And personally, I just think it would enhance what we do. It's a way to communicate a sense of place, emotions, personality. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with B-roll. It's not just some gimmick that you put in there to grab people's attention. It's basically stuff that we absolutely love as human beings, and that's one of the big reasons why it's all over the place now. And so as we develop content for Asian studies going ahead into the future, we got to think about B-roll.
And it's just one of those things that I think academic videos have to include as well. Of course, not all of them have to do it, but the more we start doing this, the cooler all this stuff is going to get. And I think the more people are going to watch it. And that's just win, win, win. And best of all is it's just fun, man. Look, you get to climb up mountains with your camera, get all hot and sweaty, look at a beautiful view, enjoy the morning. What's better than that? Then you go home and sit for hours in front of a computer and make it it doesn't always have to take that long, but then you go back home and create a video and put that up on YouTube. Bam! Mission accomplished. That's a good day's work.
And so the other day when I fell down and hurt my finger and got all beat up, I was up on a mountain trying to test a new lens and trying to get some B-roll. And it didn't work obviously that day, but I went back up. I had another technological sort of, I forgot to recharge the battery. But, I did get some film that day. And so I'll run out this video with the B-roll that I got up there with some music next to it, and then at the very end is just a long scene of some plants flowing in the afternoon Hawaiian sun. But it was a beautiful Hawaiian day, and if I was going to use that B-roll for anything, I certainly could do it to try to introduce some kind of series that gives a sense of place for coming from here in Hawaii, whether it be my Asian studies from a University of Hawaii sense of place perspective or what have you. There's a place for B-roll everywhere. It's what makes the world go round. So enjoy the B-roll. Let's produce more of it for the future as we content Asian studies.